You're listening to E-Commerce Fastlane, episode 32.
Welcome to E-Commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, launch, grow, and scale a wildly successful e-commerce company. Listen to real conversations with proven practical strategies and success stories. Learn how to generate more traffic, more sales, more profit, and customer lifetime value for your Shopify store. And now, your host and e-commerce entrepreneur, Steve Hutt.
Hey there, it's Steve, and welcome back to the E-Commerce Fastlane podcast. Now, if this is your first time listening, this is an e-commerce show where we have honest and transparent conversations about building and thriving online with your store powered by Shopify or Shopify Plus. Now, new episodes are available each week with your favorite podcast player through iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and now Spotify. Or you can also sign up at ecommercefastlane.com and be notified when new shows are being released. Now, today I'm chatting with Sam Henning, who is the co-founder of UnionWorks. Now, they're a Shopify agency partner. They're also a Shopify app partner. And Sam and his team, they really have some amazing insights from the Shopify brands that they've worked with over the years. And, they've developed an extremely popular app that we're sure to chat about today. It's kind of the reasons why I had Sam on the show today, was to kind of share this particular app. And, I'm excited to share their solution. They got a great way of improving customer loyalty. Let's jump into the show. So hi, Sam. Welcome to E-Commerce Fastlane.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, thank you very much for having us on the show.
Glad we're able to carve out some time today to get together.
Yeah, I think it's busy for all of us at the moment.
Absolutely. So tell me a bit about you and your kind of, your entrepreneurial or your career journey kind of so far, leading up to being involved now with UnionWorks.
Yeah, so I'll start the story. I had a year's placement at my university, so we did 2 years of studying, then we do a year like work experience and before our final year. So during that year, I worked for a diet delivery company who sold healthy meals on their website. So it was my first experience of e-commerce. This was about 6 years ago. I think it might have been just at the start of when Shopify was starting to grow. And during this experience, I dealt with, a lot of different things in e-commerce. Like I had experience with the fulfillment side of things, customer support, obviously the website, marketing, content manager. So it was a really well-rounded experience in e-commerce. And some of the lessons and the factors which really stuck with me were just how that particular e-commerce business was held back by their legacy system and a lot of manual intervention here and there. I mean, it was still a little bit early for the likes of Shopify and all the integrations available now, but I just remember the amount of frustrations we had of doing so many things manually when, you could just think, we could just build something and automate this and I could be doing something else, which is a lot more productive. And the other aspect to that business as well was just how complex the business model was and how complicated the fulfillment process it was. So as you can imagine, selling a perishable good in a big 20-kilogram box.
Yeah.
The amount of support debt you have if the box doesn't turn up or something's spilt, there's only about a 48-hour window from it leaving the office to getting into someone's fridge. So there's very fine margins for error. And then you had to involve delivery dates and variable costs for delivery. So it was kind of like thrown into probably the most complex e-commerce business model I've come across. And I think even now I look back and think, wow, that was very complicated. But it was a really good lesson into how valuable automation is. And that kind of sent me on this path of automation in whatever I was working on. So from there, I moved on to a creative agency where I worked with a complete opposite. So it was like massive corporate clients who would throw huge sums of money at like email marketing. So that's kind of my area. So I did a lot of strategy and account management for the digital marketing teams and with a particular focus on email. So we would set up a lot of trigger emails, like automated series, that sort of thing. and because of the size of the audience, it was really interesting to see what tiny different changes you can make to an email, and the impact that had on the bottom line and the engagement and things. So I think between those two, I was kind of slowly, without obviously knowing it at the time, being pushed down this path of, well, firstly e-commerce, but also into the automation space. And I love the idea of I could find a way to do it automatically, and I could just sit back and not do it. So I was always looking at a way of getting things off my plate as such.
Right.
So yeah, and then from there, I actually went back to the first e-commerce company. I did a little bit of work on the side, and funny enough, I set them up on Shopify. And I think from then, that was really it. I kind of fell in love with the platform. I loved what you could do and what you could plug in the app stores. Just the ability to add a loyalty scheme or a subscription was just pretty incredible, considering the website we'd been used to, and we were kind of tied down to the CMS we'd been put on. It was a real breath of fresh air. So I decided to leave that agency and set up as a Shopify expert. And kind of years later, I met Steve and Alex, who are also the co-founders of UnionWorks, and their background was a lot of app development. So we kind of all joined together about August last year, I think it was, and kind of formed UnionWorks.
Awesome. Yeah, you know what? That's a lot of great lessons in there. As I was listening to you, it's like, having a diverse background, and it's so interesting on the kind of entrepreneurial journey and taking a lot of these lessons from your past and just, maybe not forcing the direction that you think your life needs to go. It goes in the direction that it needs to go. Starting off in the food kind of market, which is still wildly popular. I know here in Canada, there's a lot of kind of chef's plates and Grubhub and, Skip the Dishes. And I think there's so many kind of opportunities out there of fresh food delivery and or picking up meals from other restaurants around your city and being delivered. And that's all being done online. So it's so interesting that it started kind of there. And I also agree with you about, you're talking about legacy systems, because I find that quite a bit when I have conversations with clients and merchants, and part of their business strategy or their business operations, I like to find out, like, what's the flow from someone coming to your website and adding an item to the cart and the checkout, and then what happens, and then start asking all the questions just to completely understand who's fulfilling the order and what happens if it's overnight, and what are you doing for delivery, and are you sending them emails to remind them here's their tracking number, and or if it gets stuck in customs, or it's being delivered today, or and then what happens if they want to return it, or what are we doing to follow up down the road, which is part of the reason why I have you on today, but the follow up of they've made a purchase, and how do we surprise and delight people later on with kind of some offers, notifications, and all these sorts of things. So it's pretty interesting that that you have finally thought about getting involved with your partners and then really honing in on this automation, because I think it's a smart place to be, and as companies start to grow, they start seeing some inefficiencies, and it looks like that's what UnionWorks is kind of starting to position themselves as being somewhat of an expert in kind of the automation based on your own experiences. So it's quite interesting. So I mentioned at the top of the show that you're an agency and an app partner with Shopify. So let's dig in a bit and let's talk about UnionWorks, and what you do and kind of what your day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, we are Shopify app developers. So predominantly we're working on our own apps. We've got 7 on the App Store at the moment, but we also work on building public apps for other companies. We, as well as sometimes building private apps, as you said before, kind of hopefully in some situations replacing legacy systems with a new private app which might hook up into 2 systems and just remove a manual task from a merchant's day-to-day process. That's always the goal with those sort of projects.
Definitely.
Our public apps are our main focus, and we try and keep them simple. When we build features, we really have a focus and try and keep the roadmap very much focused on automating a process or making things easier for the merchant. We don't want to overcomplicate or make something complicated to understand. So we try, where possible. And we think, we like to think we're going in that direction. Solve a couple of problems, make sure it's easy to use, make sure it's reliable, easy to install. So that's kind of our focus. We also we really like getting involved in the app community. As you mentioned, Shopify is all about the community and the partner network. Mm-hmm. We really buy into that, and especially the app developers community. And so we built a tool called Sassy, which is the Shopify App Store Index. I don't know if you've ever come across it before.
Sounds familiar.
So what it does is it crawls the Shopify App Store and basically provides a place for app developers or experts or merchant success managers or anyone who's interested to monitor the performance of apps on the store, so you can kind of track the new entries, the top performers, the biggest movers. You can look at your competitors, see what they're doing, and you can also use it to analyze gaps and opportunities in the App Store. So you can look at particular categories which might be underserved and things. So that's we get a lot of really good feedback about Sassy, and something we really enjoy working on. We actually just sponsored Shopify Pursuit, the London Shopify Pursuit with Sassy. So trying to get as much feedback as we possibly could, just to kind of keep adding to it and making it as valuable as possible. Mm. As it was Halloween yesterday, it's worth noting that not long ago we launched something called on Sassy called the App Store Graveyard, which was it's basically a list of all of the apps which were on the App Store before the new interface came in. So it's a great place for investors or app developers just to have a look and see what's missing. And there's great potential there to collaborate, to purchase apps, or find out why certain apps might have decided not to come on, or maybe they're still waiting to come back on. But that got a great response. So that's the sort of thing we like at UnionWorks we like to do. So we dabble in the community and trying to help and share insights amongst the app developers, as well as working on a lot of projects and our own apps, trying to automate processes, making merchants' lives easier.
Definitely. And I might add to that too, and have it bookmarked, and I'll put it in the show notes too. But if you want to take a look at this index that UnionWorks has produced, you can go to Sassy. So it's sasi.unionworks.co.uk. So I'll put that into the show notes. So it's very interesting, nice little landing page, and from the new apps and the top movers and most reviewed, and it's quite interesting. So it's in beta right now, but it's nice that you're being involved in part of Pursuit too, which is big. I know coming up, the next Pursuit, I believe, is in Australia. So it's certainly working its way south through the Asia Pacific right now. And it's pretty exciting. And I think every year there is also Shopify Unite, which is the big partner conference every year. I think previous year it was in California, and last year it was in Toronto, in Ontario, in the market where Shopify is. And it's always nice to get all those partners together. I typically go also. Great to meet face to face with all the different partners, both agency partners, app, and kind of solution partners in the app ecosystem and the partner ecosystem. I'm glad you're part of that, and it's very apparent that that you're seeing the big picture by creating this App Store Index, just to understand the ebbs and flows of this kind of industry, and with the end goal of really helping merchants kind of grow and scale, and finding, I guess, some hidden opportunities where maybe the Shopify core platform, we always talk about on the show, but Shopify does 80% of commerce quite well. It's just that final 20% needs to be filled in with either a private or public app, or a connection to some kind of a marketing platform to really help the business along. So good on you on that with Sassy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what would be really nice for us to hear is that someone has used Sassy, found a gap, launched an app, and it started really well. I mean, that's exactly what it's for. So
UnionWorks is has a great opportunity right now, being a app partner and then also being an agency partner. And so because you have access to different types of merchants and clients, can we talk about maybe some of the opportunities that you've had lately that you're now currently involved with?
Yeah, so I mean, amongst building features for our public apps, we've recently completed a number of projects for other software developers, enabling them to access Shopify as another platform and another integration. So, for example, Dynamic Yield, who are personalization software, came to us to help them connect their platform to Shopify so that Shopify merchants can hook into their systems and all of their technology and offer their services on Shopify. Right. That was a really interesting project. Another one we just launched is building of the Collect Plus Shopify app, which was actually a public app. And that's a click and collect service here based in the UK. I think they've got about 7,000 drop-off points, so it's absolutely massive. They've got integrations with the likes of eBay, Amazon, ASOS, Topshop, so a real big player. So it was great to work with them. So we've built a plugin that allows Shopify merchants to use their service and offer click and collect to their customers as well, which is nice because it's another shipping method used. And it's typically used for those who can't be home to accept a delivery if it's not going to fit through the letterbox. Right. So they can get it dropped off at a local convenience store and pick it up after work. So it's a really growing trend, especially here in the UK.
I was going to add to that too, is that I know here in Canada, it's definitely a growing trend too, where I have quite a few merchants now that are allowing the customer to select the closest Canada Post outlet. And so instead of it being delivered to their home, they can, there's a really great kind of drop-down map based on their delivery address, and it can show them some of the ones closest to their home, or they could even have it delivered to the closest Canada Post outlet near their work, and they could scoot over once they get notification that it's been delivered to that location. They can scoot over at lunch or just after work and pick up their parcel and bring it home instead of having the dreaded note on the door says that you have to. That I'm going to try to reschedule your delivery, or you need to come to this location now and pick it up later. Because it's an emotional decision when you buy something online. You like to have it as quickly as possible, and nothing better than being able to have the right location to be able to pick up your product.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it experiences everything in e-commerce. So, as you say, no one likes to get home after a long day of work to get that dreaded note. Yeah. And everyone, they've ordered their stuff. They're looking forward to arriving. So, it's a really good alternative to delivery. So no, it's interesting to hear that it's growing in Canada as well.
And even one more thing to add too is there's also lots of grumbling too about I'm not sure it's through Canada Post or through some U.S. companies, but the fashion business is quite interesting, where the return rate is quite high, especially footwear. And what a lot of customers are doing now, from what I hear, is they're buying multiple sizes of the same shoe, which they want. Until they know that brand's kind of sizing chart that works for them, they're buying, a woman's going to buy a 6, a 7, and an 8, and then return the rest. And they're literally going to try them on at the location where they're picking up their product. And I've even seen there's some change rooms now available in some major markets in LA and New York, where, it's delivered to that particular location. You go there, retrieve your package, go into a change room, try everything all on, and make a decision if you're going to keep any of it or one of them in the right size you like. And then the return label's already in the box, all part of that whole customer experience where, I'm not home all day, I'm working. And it's frustrating having to, not sure if it's going to fit. And knowing that the return rates are quite high in fashion in general, this is what customers' workarounds are, buying multiple sizes and shipping the ones back. But I guess one way of helping that is just to literally have a change room available at package delivery locations, and then just the flow works from there.
Wow. Yeah, no, we haven't got that here. So I'll be interested to see once that hops across the pond.
Absolutely.
And then we can go further down south. Just to go back, as one of the projects we're actively working on, and we're really quite excited about actually, is we've built an app called Automate, which we work quite closely with the Recharge platform, and the app is used to help merchants extend the recharge functionality. So a lot of subscription businesses, as I was mentioning, the diet delivery company before, which was also subscription, there's different fulfillment days and cut-off days and all these weird and wonderful business logics, which might make complete sense to that particular merchant, but perhaps not to the masses. So we use that app to help on board some of those more complex business requirements, and ease the process of migrating to Shopify and setting up their subscription business without any sort of overly complex manual intervention. As they fulfill their subscription business.
Excellent. I know I've actually recently interviewed Recharge Payments, and I have quite a few clients and merchants that are using Recharge as their subscription option. Because Shopify, through Shopify Payments, doesn't have a subscription type option just based on our connections to the gateways and stuff that we connect to. So this is nice that you've created even a more advanced API for those that have custom kind of requirements for storing the credit card details and those sessions, and then being able to whatever the flow is for that particular use case. It's nice that you have now connected Shopify and Recharge together as almost a middle solution.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I say, Recharge is a really powerful platform, and with the API, you kind of it opens it right up even further. So yeah, we've got a queue of various logic and rules and functions we've got to build on top of this for different clients. So that's something we're really enjoying working on at the moment. And then I guess the final sort of area we work in, I'm not saying we all do all of this in a day-to-day, but just to kind of give you an idea of what we do, the way we describe ourselves is that we're the agency behind the agency. So we don't do a lot of sexy work. We definitely don't do any design. We don't do a lot of marketing as such. We're very much focused on complex development. So we help a lot of Plus agencies land and migrate Plus merchants, whether that's through Recharge or through expert agencies. And that could be extending certain systems and functionalities, automating something which might just be a bit tricky to do out of the box, and integrating multiple platforms. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Shopify sales team kind of has those sort of challenges at the beginning where they're looking at a larger merchant and discussing, the benefits of, replatforming to Shopify Plus. But when you start understanding their business requirements, there's definitely gaps in kind of their current connections and their current workflow. And it's nice that there's agency partners like UnionWorks that can look holistically at and help other agencies, close deals for Shopify Plus, knowing that there are workarounds and proper business solutions that can make it work even better. Sometimes with these older or bigger merchants may have like legacy systems where they don't realize that Shopify's process is different and better in most cases. And because of that, having an agency partner like UnionWorks be able to see that and then coming up with best practices about how to best connect them and or quote on, developing, some private solutions to make their unique user experience work. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as you say, Shopify, you can do so much more on it. And I think people moving from other platforms into Shopify perhaps are a little bit surprised as to what you can do. And they've kind of had their hands tied with a certain way of working for so long that actually it's quite difficult to explain, actually, you don't need to do half of that. We just need to do this little bit here. And then, you can go off to lunch. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the words that I hear you speaking a lot is automation. That's an important topic. I know that Shopify has been discussing quite a bit. Even Plus merchants, have access to Flow and scripts and Launchpad, and there's lots of kind of Plus exclusive features that really aim to kind of help solve some of this automation problems. So I guess the main reason why I had you here today, thanks for sharing that whole journey and kind of what UnionWorks does. I'm going to focus a little bit of a pivot now on one particular solution and kind of share more about what the Happy Birthday email or Happy Birthday solution does and just how you've become successful with this kind of solution.
Yeah, so Happy Birthday email allows merchants to collect the date of birth of their customers from various places on the website. So on the thank you page or the order confirmation page, on a landing page through CSV upload, or if you're a POS merchant through your POS app.
Excellent.
If you like. And then from capturing that date of birth, the merchant can then go in and set up a birthday campaign. So They can send an email with a nice message personalized to that customer with a unique discount code, just wishing them a happy birthday. Yeah, we seem to get such good feedback from it because it's such a nice touch point for a brand, and it's such a good way to build a real positive relationship with your customers, because and it's the holy grail of marketing, really, because it's right place, right time, right message marketing, and it is highly targeted and highly personalized. So yeah, it gets great feedback and great reviews, and it sees great results from customers.
Yeah, I really love the idea, the whole surprise and delight. I think it's very unique. I've hundreds, if not 1,000 merchants I've had the opportunity to work with over the years, and very rarely do I hear them ever talking about capturing the birth date, not the year. Maybe not everybody wants to share their date of birth, maybe completely disclose their age, but certainly the month and day, and then having a process in place to now kind of like surprise and delight them. It's a great user experience, and so many merchants that I know of are not using this kind of strategy, and I know it definitely could make a difference. I know that, I'm an avid online shopper, and not once has anybody ever asked me for my birthday. I find that interesting, knowing how successful your solution is. So it is a diamond in the rough right now, where for those that are listening, it's a very interesting solution that's not being widely implemented, even though you are successful. I'm sure you can think about it yourself. How many things have you bought online? And, have you ever received an email from where you've purchased from? Have you ever got an email from them and, wishing you happy birthday? And it's an interesting touch point. It's very, very unique.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it's a simple concept, really. It's something you can set up and you can just let it run. We have internal discussions about what the main benefit of sending birthdays is. And my initial response and thoughts on that was always that it drives conversions, because the reason why this idea came about is going right back to when I first started at the diet delivery company. We used to collect date of births on our system, but it was just a text field, which I think came through as an email for me. So I had to put it into a big CSV, and then usually on the first of the month, I'll filter everyone by that month, and then I think I did it on a daily basis, trying to send out the messages wishing people happy birthday. And it was I was stuck in two minds, because part of me hated it because it was so boring. I had to constantly keep doing it. But the results, and you get a nice little thank you sometimes, and quite often someone will come back and buy again, especially if you're offering a unique discount code of some kind. So that's kind of where the idea was born from. In my mind, when I did it before, I was like, well, I'm going to send the birthday emails because I know I'll get X uplift in revenue from sending birthdays, from reactivating customers. But we did a survey to kind of ask what our merchants felt was the most important thing. And the majority of them actually came back and said that, they just like that little touch point. Is just nice, isn't it? You can just set it up and run, and that every time someone's birthday comes up, you're dropping them a little email in the morning or whenever you've set it for, just to wish them a good day. And whether it's a brand or it's still a very personal message, and it is just going to make someone feel that little bit better. It's a great way of building, as I said, building that brand reputation.
Yeah, definitely. And then so I guess you have a roadmap for this solution. Can you give us any kind of insider tips of kind of what the future holds for Happy Birthday? Yeah.
So as I said before, we try and let our merchants lead our roadmap. We have a good idea of where we want it to go eventually, but in the in between, we like to be guided, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the merchants get exactly what they want. So one of the main things which I was crying out for was following up emails. So after someone's had their birthday, we want to make sure that they have the ability to resend and say, don't forget to use your discount, or depending on what they've sent them. So I think follow-up emails is something we want to explore. We've got a long list of apps and various platforms we want to integrate with. So we've got some different ideas. There's so many different things you can send to someone on their birthday. It doesn't have to be a discount code. It could be a free product. It could be loyalty points. So yeah, we're trying to explore some more interesting ways of what we could send. Yeah, that's sort of what we're looking at going forward.
We are nearing the end of the show. Do you have any closing comments or kind of any takeaways that you would like to share with the listeners today?
Automation is very liberating. So automation's liberation, being able to remove something you do manually and put some sort of automation in place is just allows you to have so much more time and freedom to focus on the things that you should be focusing on. And for example, driving sales or improving your marketing, improving your support, customer service, all of the valuable things which are going to have a real impact on growing the business and ensuring that you're successful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It seems to be a direction Shopify is going, as I mentioned too, with Shopify Flow and now having connectors, which is another kind of way of allowing apps to talk to each other and that maybe don't have a relationship with each other, but they can have a trigger and an action. And it's very interesting, the future. And I'm glad there's a really neat roadmap. I wrote a note here that I think the whole loyalty and reward kind of solution is very interesting. I think Happy Birthday email is a great fit in the market just because of the fact that it is a surprise and delight kind of situation. But I could see the roadmap in the future for people that really push hard in their loyalty side and offering some extra points or offering a free bonus product or some kind of other special promotional thing. So almost the world's your oyster as far as connecting to the popular other marketing and platformy type apps that are on Shopify and triggering that event. And allowing that to happen. So I wish you awesome success in that endeavor moving into the future. And so how can the listeners learn more about the Happy Birthday app and more about UnionWorks?
Yeah, so you can go straight to our website. We've got a whole section on Happy Birthday, so we kind of explain what it's about, how it works, how you can get it set up. But you can collect plenty of birthdays and give it a really good test just to see. And I think you'll be surprised at how many customers will willingly leave their date of birth with you. We were certainly surprised, especially on the order status page, just how many customers would leave their information. They'd even go back to their status page to be able to leave their date of birth after they'd already ordered. So yeah, take a look at the website. We've obviously got our app listings on the Shopify App Store as well.
unionworks.co.uk. And then you can go / Shopify-apps. I will also update the show notes. Just before we were recording, Sam was very gracious to offer, I guess, a listener-only promo. It is 2,000 credits instead of 1,000 credits for the Happy Birthday email solution. So maybe you can explain kind of how the credits work and how people can get involved with that.
Yeah, so it's a tiered plan based on how many birthdays you capture. So credits is just how many date of births you capture. So on the base plan, you capture up to 1,000. So you get a really good test of how your customers respond. Firstly, to leaving their date of birth, but also what sort of results you get from the emails you send out. So for everyone listening, we would like to give everyone 2,000 credits to really give the app a good test and see the results, that your campaign gets. And we see average open rates of about 60%, click-throughs between 30 and 40%, and conversion rates of around 5 to 10%. Some stores even higher, up to 20%. So, it's a really good opportunity to test out birthday campaigns.
Essentially, that's 2,000 customers of yours for it to really see the value of what the solution does. And obviously it has the bigger impact, the more orders that you are creating per month as these credits get used up. But, within a year, you're going to have some finite numbers that you can kind of take a look at and go, yeah, wow, okay, I am surprising and delighting. And there is, an open and click-through rate and an associated conversion rate based on having these emails being sent out. So I think that's phenomenal. So that was the core reason why I had you on today, because I think it's an underserved market. And that's the kind of whole purpose of this show is really, merchants grow and scale. And it's a great conversion and retention strategy you as a store owner should implement. And now you have access to doing that with 2,000 free credits. So I will update the show notes. So ecommercefastlane.com / happy birthday will be the landing page to get more details on this promo. And, thanks, Sam, again for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you too.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Sam from UnionWorks. As I mentioned in the show, we're all online shoppers. And can you honestly remember ever getting a birthday email from a store that you purchased from? It really is an incredible way to celebrate that special day and offer an exclusive birthday incentive. With extremely high open, click-through, and conversion rates, it's time to experiment with a happy birthday campaign. Building strong relationships with your customers is vital to your long-term success of your business. And birthdays represent a very unique opportunity to get in touch with your loyal customers and kind of offer them a great reason, really, to revisit and buy from your store. And the Happy Birthday app campaigns are a great retention strategy. We always talk about the sales funnel of acquisition, conversion, retention. This is a great one because it increases your brand's visibility. Birthday campaigns are a great way to remind your customers of your store and your products. Rewarding loyalty, really saying thank you to your loyal customers and regular customers with a special kind of birthday offer. And drive repeat business. Unlike Black Friday or other kind of sale and promotional dates, birthdays happen all year round and are a great way to encourage repeat business. And finally, improving your store's conversion rate. Data proves that birthday email campaigns are one of the best converting marketing campaigns available to you as a merchant on Shopify. So take advantage of the free 2,000 credits that Sam has offered today. You can go to ecommercefastlane.com/happy birthday, and I'll have that in the show notes. That will redirect you to a landing page to add that solution to your store. And finally, I'd like to thank you, my loyal listeners of the show. It's my hope this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive kind of insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you grow and scale with Shopify. Thanks for carving out some time today and listening to the show. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of your week and keep thriving with Shopify.